So today, World Rugby have announced where the next decades of Rugby World Cups will be hosted. Obviously, if you follow any rugby content on socials, then you're going to know that Australia have the 2027 Men's World Cup, as well as the 2029 Women's, and then the USA for the first ever time have the Rugby World Cup in 2031 for the men's and then 2033 for the women's. So what an absolute pleasure it is for the USA. I'm already thinking of going. It'll be an absolutely crazy experience. And then also the Women's World Cup in 2025 is of course going to be held here in England. So can't wait for all. So obviously the next World Cup after this one in France is the 2027 World Cup. And we all know now that's going to be held in Australia. Of course, all England fans will fondly remember the last World Cup in Australia back in 2003 when England won it. So can this be another England win? Who knows? They'll definitely have another coach by then, as Eddie Jones' contract, and he's confirmed that he's leaving after this World Cup. Maybe Australia can bring it home, as they've got the home advantage, but we'll never know. Obviously, it's a few years away still now, but for Australian fans and for Australian rugby, it's just absolutely great. And as I also mentioned, the USA are making history by having a Rugby World Cup in their country for the first time ever in 2031. Now, this is going to be an absolute crazy event. As I said, I'm already thinking, how do I get tickets? You know that the USA love to put on a show and love a good event. And this is probably going to be one of the best World Cups to ever be. So, obviously I'm bigging it up so much, but we all know what the US can do. I mean, we've all seen a Super Bowl final, right? Even if it's just on Instagram or any socials, if you've not watched the whole game. We all know that the big stars come out for that final, and I'm sure it'll be exactly the same for the Rugby World Cup, even though rugby isn't a huge sport like an NFL in the US yet. But obviously it's got just under a decade to grow, and I'm absolutely positive that by that time it's going to be a really big sport in the US. Obviously, just like the Sevens, and you've got superstars like Perry Baker and Carlin Isles getting into the sport, has really grown the game in the US. So this is absolutely massive for them, and also massive for the whole of rugby. I think I've mentioned it before that rugby doesn't actually market itself very well compared to like a football or even the American sports like NBA, NFL. So this is going to be absolutely huge, getting the US on board and involved. And then of course, in Australia and the US, there's going to be the Women's Rugby World Cups. And we now know that in 2025, England will host the Rugby World Cup. And that is absolutely massive for England. Obviously, they're on a huge win streak at the moment, breaking all sorts of records. So, obviously, I'm positive that England can go and win that World Cup. But will they retain players like Emily Scarrett, Mo Hunt as well, Sarah Hunter, who are getting on a little bit? Or will they obviously flesh out with new, younger generations so that they can really strive and push for that World Cup win in their home turf? So it's so exciting to be a rugby fan at the moment, and basically just keep watching all the socials for everything that's coming up. If you enjoyed the video, then please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. I know that lots of you will follow rugby on socials like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, but obviously YouTube gives you some interaction with the community and also with the host. So just go down and subscribe, and who doesn't love to talk about rugby at the end of the day? So thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.